So the Sykkuno situation seems to have gotten even worse as another victim has crawled out from his dungeon, this time a small Twitch streamer by the name of Leia or Leia Kai, as this new victim claims that Sykkuno, let's just say, finished the job in a Evo Las Vegas hotel room.
We were not using protection, and I'm legally hard of hearing, if you guys don't know already. But in the heat of the moment, he asked me if it was safe, and I didn't hear him, but I just said, and he finished.
And she ends up painting a pretty serious picture for what essentially boils down to yet another consensual interaction between two adults, which seems to be what a lot of these victims of Sykkuno are doing. One woman, of course, comes out with her side in the 32-page Google Doc, and now every single person who's ever interacted with Sykkuno allegedly has like a humongous, horrific story, how they barely survived. You know, they're lucky to be alive right now and able to tell their story. Even have dummies like Pokimane, you know, coming out saying like, oh my god, I feel so bad for the victims, when in reality, the only victim is Sykkuno's girlfriend who he cheated on, who he was with for 5 years. The other women who consensually had interactions with this guy are not victims.
I went to Evo Las Vegas alone, but I wasn't alone. I shared a hotel room with Sykkuno, but I didn't know that he had other intentions.
Okay, so I'm going to skip a little bit because she pretty much adds nothing. The main allegation is to the point where she was invited to basically share a hotel room with this man that they've been friends with, right? They went to go do a little Netflix and chill, and then when it got to the chill part, she's now trying to say that, like, she only did it because she was, like, being nice and she thought he was cute, and then it escalated even further, and he, like, kissed her and pushed her on the bed, and there's all this crazy stuff, but she's not really willing to say things like SA or say things like forced or coerced.
We had plans to watch a horror movie together. We were watching the movie and he started to get very angsty or something. I don't know how to explain it. He pretty much tried to make a move on me, and I was fully trying to say like I'm just here to watch a movie. Like,
all right, here we go. It's starting to get interesting, right? We're about to hear how she survived something truly horrific. We all should be like thankful she's alive and even able to tell this story.
But me being a dumbass and not being very like maybe this is a people pleaser in me, but and maybe I don't know, benefit of the doubt, or because I still thought he was cute, or I don't know. I don't sleep with anyone that I'm not dating. And it didn't happen that night. I didn't want it to happen. So instead, I just gave him oral. Okay? And then when he fell asleep, I got out of bed and I just ate a banana and I was just staring out the window. I was dissociating.
So apparently, like, she didn't give in to his flirting, right? His making a move. Yet somehow his banana ended up in her mouth, right? Both of them, right? The actual physical banana and his other banana, the little Sykkuno, both ended up in her mouth that night with no context, right? Like, we don't know the context. Is she accusing Sykkuno of pressuring her, coercing her, forcing her, right? Like, there's a lot of things happening in this sentence, in this, like, video, right? Allegations, of course, all coming up after the fact that a whole bunch of other women apparently are now victims with Google Docs of how terrible Sykkuno is and whatnot. So there's very clearly a picture she is trying to paint without painting it, right? She can't say he did all these things like he raped or anything like that, because a lot of people will say that's not grape, right?
I barely slept that night. Then in the morning, he didn't really want to talk about it. And I was just kind of trying to open it up and talk to him about like what happened. And then we were going to talk about it I don't know, later or something. I don't know, but I can't remember. But he ends up hugging me. But then pushes me onto the bed from the hug.
So here she is doing this now, right? He's describing a situation where, again, she's not providing any context of like how the vibes are, right? How the emotions are in the room. Was she flirty? Was he flirty? Were they happy? Were they bad, right? She's telling us, right? She's telling us as the viewer, of course, now after this situation is done and over, that she was like disassociating the night before. She couldn't sleep, blah, blah, blah. But was this because she enjoyed it? Because she was giddy? She was excited? We have no idea of any of these emotions. And she's trying to now tell us a narrative, based on a story of something that happened that she can't change. So she's trying to now paint a picture of it.
We end up having sex. And I didn't have it in me to tell him to stop. So I just let it happen.
And there it is. She let it happen, right? She didn't have it in her to say no. I couldn't say no. I just, like, we're only one step away from just saying he forced me or it was SA, right? But again, I feel like she doesn't want to go that far. But at the same time, she's literally like tiptoeing around it, right? You didn't have it in you to say no. Why can't you just say you regret it? Why can't you just say, looking back at it, realizing he has a girlfriend the whole time, I feel like a piece of crap and I shouldn't, instead of trying to paint this narrative that something horrific happened that night, right? Because we have no context of that and what she's describing and the setup to this, to build up to this, not providing any type of screenshots or context or messages, doesn't paint that narrative to me. And I could be wrong.
And while this was happening, while we were doing it, I always wear protection and I only sleep with people I'm in a relationship with. So I'm not used to one night stands or anything like that. But we were not using protection and I'm legally hard of hearing, if you guys don't know already. But in the heat of the moment, he asked me if it was safe and I didn't hear him, but I just said, and he finished inside of me, and then that was it.
So he asked you for consent. You said, and then now you're saying you were deaf. You didn't hear it. You're hard of hearing. Apparently now people, if you didn't hear something correctly and you said yes, it's a problem, right? If someone's like, hey, can I put my finger in there? And you say, and you do it, it's now great. If someone says, hey, can I touch this thing? And you say, and you do it, it's now SA, right? Now, she does end up going into some points I can kind of understand, where she asks him things like, is he sexually active? Or does he hook up with a lot of girls? And he lies, right? He, of course, isn't going to be upfront and say, yeah, of course, I'm screwing chicks every night. Like, this is how dogs play. A dog has 50 different bones, right? And they're not going to be honest, right? It doesn't make it a good thing. I don't think anybody's implying that he's like a good guy, right? Sykkuno is obviously a dog who hides behind the shy boy, anime boy voice gimmick. This is another nothing burger from another small creator who is now trying to jump into the spotlight and claim that Sykkuno is like this horrible evil guy when, again, it's nothing. Right. Is he a good guy? No, we've all come to that conclusion that he shouldn't have cheated on his girlfriend. But is there anything wrong with being a dirty dog, a sly dog? Yeah, there's things wrong with being a sly dog. Not to the point where you should have your career ruined, or that people should go online trying to paint this narrative of you being like this evil predator. Because that's not what Sykkuno is, at least from what we know. And I am not willing to call any of these women victims except for his girlfriend. And now Pokimane may disagree with me because she came out with her own video.
Of course, before streaming today, I expected a lot of people in the chat asking me to talk about the Sykkuno situation. I was thinking about it. I was like, how can I say something that feels honest to me but doesn't get clipped out of context? I was really stressing about it. And then I realized, like, I'm stressing about it so much. And Sykkuno hasn't even said anything yet. And something about that, like, didn't really sit right with me.
I mean, he still hasn't said anything about it. We have proof of what happened, right? He admitted to cheating on his girlfriend. He apologized to the original person who made the Google Doc, right? Like, he doesn't really need to speak on this before you can give your thoughts. I've given my thoughts, right? Like, if I was Sykkuno's best friend, I would say, bro, like, you effed up, man. Like, why'd you do that to your girl, right? And the people who are calling themselves victims and trying to make it out to seem like this is the worst guy on the earth are going too far. That's what I would say. But Pokimane is about to do this thing where she's like, you know, I have a safe space here and I feel so bad for the victims, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're already doing that, right? It doesn't matter if you wait for him to reply because you're now already joining the side of like, oh, these are victims and he's such a bad guy.
But I do want to reiterate, it's just so sad and disappointing how often this kind of thing seems to happen, especially when it comes from people that you don't expect it to come from. And I think what I really want to say is I am just so sorry for all the hurt that's been caused to the victims, to our communities. I feel everyone's hurt and shock and confusion, and I'm right there with ya.
At the same time, you're putting out a tweet trying to like change what the word victim means, right? We all know there's like a horrific connotation behind victim, unless you're like joking around, right? If you're like, oh, I'm a victim of Call of Duty because I buy it every year, you're not implying that. When women are going around saying SA related things or possible harassment and things like that, calling themselves victims, you calling them a victim as well means you're pushing that narrative.
I really try so hard to make my channel a safe space for everybody. And I really hope the people that do need to speak up will. And hopefully that's enough addressing it.
And that was that for Pokimane's response to the situation. A side of fries for the nothing burger that you ordered, sir, because that was trash. That was nothing. That was literally saying like, I'm a safe space, guys. Like, you can always come to me. Thank you, victims, for speaking out. Thank you. Which is, you know, kind of why XQC was like, what the heck do you mean victims? Who's the victim in this situation? We all can probably agree that the girlfriend who got cheated on, who was most likely loyal to Sykkuno for 5 years, is the victim. I feel bad for that woman. I truly do. And I don't think that Sykkuno is like a great man by any means, right? You shouldn't be a dirty dog cheating on your girlfriend. You shouldn't be messing around with all these different women, right? It is what it is. But at the end of the day, bro's not a predator. Bro's not a monster. Bro's not a creep. He's a horn dog who can't keep his pecker in his pants. Thank you for watching. Peace out. Bye.